Hi, this is your Supil Bhartiya and welcome to a brand new episode of State of Energy. We are here in Paris for LF Energy Summit and today we have with us Clément Bouvier, software engineer at RTE. Clément, great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and today we are going to talk about OperatorFabric or OpFab as you call it. Give us a quick overview of what this project is all about and then we'll talk about how it started. But let's start with the definition. What is the project all about?
Okay, so OperatorFabric at its core is messaging and alerting software. So on this software, you can get alerts from other applications into one software. And then you have the possibility to send what we call cards, so basically messages, to different people. And with those cards, they are templated. So the message, you select a scenario. This scenario is associated to a specific message that you've already chosen before. And then you can see who has seen the message. And the cards are interactive. So if you need a quick answer with checkboxes, a map, a graph, or things like that, you can quickly send the information to whoever needs it. And then you can see who has seen the information, who has interacted, acted upon the instructions, and things like that. So it's a software for messaging, alerting, and it's used at RTE in production for crisis management and other less important tasks. But it's used for coordination between actors.
And who are the constituents who are accessing these or using or leveraging these cards?
At RTE, as a TSO, we have 8 control rooms in the country. Those control rooms have the mission to maintain the supply and demand balance in the country, and they need a lot of communication. And those are the main users at RTE using our software.
Wasn't there any traditional means to communicate with them, or was it not enough, or was it not sufficient, or was it not optimized for this use case that led to creation of this project?
Before OperatorFabric, they had some processes, but they were quite old. And one of the events that led to the need for OperatorFabric was the winter 2022, where there was really a risk of a lot of incidents on the grid. And the old software is really old, the interface is really outdated, and they needed something for quicker communication and faster processes. And OperatorFabric was the perfect solution for this.
The product originated at RTE, and then you folks, open sourced it and released it, as part of, which also means that this project is already being used in production. It's not one of those projects which is in the very early stage.
Yeah, it's used in production.
Yeah. So can you also talk about who else is using it?
We have the user at RTE. So it's RTE International, which is a different company from RTE. They're using it's a subsidiary, I think. And they're using OpFab under the name of Let's Co or Let's Coop for cooperation. And they use it as a software solution for the different missions they have with other TSOs in Europe. It's also used in production at ENSOE, the institutions that oversees all the TSOs in Europe. And we have Allender, which is co-developing OperatorFabric with RTE as part of the open source program. And Allender is also using OperatorFabric in production.
And since this is part of LF Energy, is an open source project, can you talk about what kind of community? Of course, you mentioned that Allender is involved. What kind of community? Because it's a new project, and projects take time to grow. But if you can just talk about who else is involved in creating and developing the project.
The main development is done at RTE with a team of 4 that I'm a part of. And then Allender is helping us to develop some features. One of the main features they've added is anything related to maps. Because it's a use case they have, they want to be able to see where the incidents are happening. We do not have this need at RTE. So we are not using it, but they've added it as part of the open source possibilities. And yes, these are the only 2 developing teams that are working on the project at the moment.
Can you also kind of talk about, when ever since the project was started, then it came, and what are the things, just give us the state of the project.
Yeah. So at first, as I've said, it was to answer a need in the control rooms. In the control rooms, it's operators that have more and more screens to monitor different things on the grid. And there was a need to synthesize information. So this is the first feature of OperatorFabric. It was to be able to have all the different alerts in one place and synthesize information. And then it became really successful, and we knew that we could do more with the project. It was still very light, and not a lot of features were on it. And that's when all the messaging and coordination of actors feature appeared in the project, and it was added. And that was like the two big stage. And
can you talk about what are the things that you're working on, either to where you see a problem that you still want to solve, a new functionality or feature that you want to add?
So far, I've been part of the team for 5 months. My first missions were about, how do I say this? Somehow restructure the code and fix some technical debt we had about different issues, because it was not as clean, not very well organized at some parts. And so I worked on making the code more efficient and separating the business code from the functions. And then recently I've been assigned to a few different tasks added because users have been asking for it. The first task was RT International that wanted a dashboard. So I added a new dashboard page on the application that was needed. And then there is RT use case. So OperatorFabric, we have the open source version. And then, as I've said, we have templates. And so we have specific templates at RT that are not open source because it's specific to our jobs. And there was an internal use case that needed the development of new templates, which I worked on.
Can you also talk about what is the long-term plan or vision that you folks have with the project?
OperatorFabric, for the moment, it's a lot of back and forth discussion with the users to figure out the UI. But in the long term, we're talking years in the future, there is discussion about adding an assistant for decisions. So basically, the point is that an operator receives an issue and there is an assistant suggesting different solutions because we've seen this problem 10,000 times and things like that. And maybe in the long future also add an AI to automate the task and not the crisis, but the small task, and just have a log telling you this action has been done because of this.
Clément, thank you so much for sitting down with me and give us an update on OperatorFabric or OpFabric, as you call it. Thanks for all those insights, and I would love to chat with you again as there are new, development, new progress made on the project. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be here today.